Javier Farje is an analyst specialising in Latin American affairs. He joins us live now from London. Welcome to the programme. So, to what extent has the margin of this win come as something of a surprise?
It is a big surprise. We mustn't forget that in the first round, Mrs. González lost by 17,000 votes, not 0.17%. All opinion polls suggested that this was going to be a very close victory of either side. I'm not so surprised by his victory. I'm surprised by the strength of his victory. I just have the latest figures, 92.65% of the votes, according to the Electoral Commission, 44.13 for González, 55.87 for Mr. Noboa. It's a big gap of 11%. So it is huge. And she is very, very suspicious about what happened because the margin, as she said, as your editor said in her initial report, the margin was supposed to be very, very, very tight. So I am surprised by the extent of his victory, but not necessarily by his victory.
And there's no surprise, though, that the biggest election issue was the rise of drug-related violence. Can any president fix that in the near to medium term?
So far, Mr. Noboa has not been able to tackle the problem. That was one of the reasons why Mrs. González did so well in the first round, unlike the election in 2022 when she lost by a huge margin. So that's one of the reasons. But if you would compare the plans that Mr. Noboa had, that means that they attack directly, the gangs, as Mr. Bukele did in El Salvador, compared to Mrs. González, who had a different approach. She said that she wanted to increase education and fight poverty because there were the two factors that influenced young people to join the gangs. Not necessarily the case, but it's one of the reasons. People chose the hard line rather than the softer approach that Mrs. González, they believe, had, although she radicalized her speech in the last few weeks of the campaign accusing immigrants of violence and causing unemployment. So her tough line speech came far too late because obviously the Ecuadorian people, assuming that this is the right result, decided to give Mr. Noboa the chance to continue the fight against the gangs, which has become the biggest problem in Ecuador. It's extremely difficult to live in Ecuador at the moment. I've been there many times for work, and I can't believe how a peaceful country Ecuador has become such a violent nation. So it is a big problem, and I believe that the electorate has decided to give Mr. Noboa the chance to continue, and he wants to reopen the Manta base. In the past, there was a military base by the United States in Manta, the northern part of the country, which was closed by President Rafael Correa, the head of the party that Mrs. González belongs to. Now he wants to reestablish that, and many Ecuadorians may believe that this is the only way you can actually fight the gangs in Ecuador.
OK, I mean, big problems there, as you say, but let's not forget that the economy and job insecurity also had a role to play in this election.
Only last year, 132,000 Ecuadorians lost their jobs. The situation is very, very dire. In the next 4 years, Ecuador has to pay a huge debt to the International Monetary Fund, which is going to demand more austerity measures, which Mr. Noboa will be happy to implement because he's a conservative. But also, we mustn't forget that it's not going to be easy for him because his party, the Action for National Democratic Action, does not have a majority in the parliament, in the Ecuadorian Congress. They have 66 votes, whereas the Citizens' Revolution of Mrs. González has 67 votes, and she can manage to get enough votes to block many of the laws that Mr. Noboa may want to pass in Congress. So that could be a big problem for Mr. Noboa because Mrs. González can manage to get enough votes with other smaller parties like Pachacuti, which has 9 seats, to block any kind of laws that Mr. Noboa wants to pass. So he's going to have a big problem there. It's going to be very difficult for him to be able to pass many of the laws that he expect to do that, especially the issue on reestablishing the military bases from the U.S. in the city of Manta in the northern part of the country. So it's not going to be easy. He's going to have to revalue his strategy at the moment. One of the things that he's done at the moment for violence is he's been doing punctual strikes against gangs, but without a concrete plan to fight violence. That's why it has actually failed. Now he's going to have the chance to create a plan to get help from other countries in the world, like Canada, United States, etc., and to be able to carry out the campaign against the gangs, which has become the biggest problem in Ecuador at the moment.
OK, we'll leave it there. Javier Farje, we appreciate your insights. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.